In Pompeii, a gladiator is forced to race against time in order to save the woman he loves as a cataclysmic natural disaster destroys the world around him.
Hi, I'm Emily Browning. You're watching Made in Hollywood, and here is a scene from my new movie, Pompeii.
People of Pompeii! Let the games begin!
I love this character for you. A story of destiny surrounds him. What drew you to him?
I love his simplicity. I love that he's hell-bent on vengeance. He doesn't believe in anything. The only thing he believes in is death and killing people. And I just thought it was a very straightforward, simple, manly kind of role, and I really liked that. And then things change for him. He falls in love, and the volcano goes off and changes everything. So I really liked the role when I read it.
What is your name?
My name is Milo.
Tomorrow we fight.
But Julian Burroughs, who wrote Downton Abbey, he crafted such a well-written script because you have these strands of relationships and drama played out against this impending doom. And what really appealed to me about the character Atticus was his relationship with Milo.
That slave looks at you as if he's in a dream, Cassia.
I first heard about the script and I was really excited about the idea of, a film being made about Pompeii, because there's not a film that I've seen before that's been made about this sort of massive event in history. She's clever and has a mind of her own and she's opinionated and, she gets to save his ass a couple of times. And I think that's definitely what made me want to do it. Just the fact that, she seems like a cool girl.
I think it's a very simple love, isn't it? Mm-hmm. They see each other. She says thank you for something. He's never heard thank you before. And she's utterly enticing.
What is this?
It is the mountain. Here are two men that are enslaved, both with their personal quests, mine for freedom, his for love and revenge, who are forced to live with each other in a cell, but know that they have to kill each other.
Can you feel that?
I do want to ask you where the story came from because, of course, it's based on historical facts, but the story is fictional. So where did this whole romantic story come from?
Well, it was very much inspired by the figures of Pompeii. If you go to Pompeii, one of the most famous things, apart from the city itself, are these figures who, when they died, you see how they were frozen in time.
Pompeii is an extremely unique archaeological site in that the way that it was covered, as you said, preserved much of the city, including the people. Once this was covered, over time, the organic material deteriorated and decayed and left a hollow cavity.
Pompeii is a few miles away from the volcano, so when they got the flow, which is a mixture of hot ash and gas, got to the city, it was perhaps around 500 Fahrenheit, which is still enough to kill you from heat shock, but is not hot enough to really sort of, burn things.
Some of the famous figures, probably the most famous, are the lovers, which are these man and a woman who kind of met their death, not running away from the volcano, but kind of intertwined. And you see their love is kind of like it's frozen for all eternity.
This role had to be physically demanding, right? What was the regimen that you were put on?
Oh man, we were sent to a gladiator boot camp, and that was like 4 weeks of 4 hours a day workouts prior to the movie.
Give you a fighting chance.
It was a lot of prep. It was quite a few weeks of bulking up for the movie, and then once we got out to start the movie, it was quite a few weeks of shredding down, and that required a very severe diet and a lot of days in the gym with a trainer. And then on top of that, we had a lot of fights to choreograph, so that kept me very fit. I love getting involved in a movie like this, which is very physical and very physically demanding. It makes you feel like you're really working.
Paul W.S. Anderson was very insistent that he wanted actors that not only looked the part, but were able to perform these intricate fight sequences.
Whatever is happening here, Find freedom, my friend.
We tried to shoot as much as possible in camera and for real, which was really fun for me as a filmmaker, but also I think it was great for the actors, because by the time you've put the costume on and you're in the real world that's been created around you, you know, they found themselves very immersed in it.
And he showed us a lot of photos and he took some footage there, but I think it's tricky because obviously it was what helped more was just seeing the images of what the set was going to look like, because obviously Pompeii now looks somewhat different to how it did. But he worked with a historian and he wanted to make sure that all of the architecture and all of the landscapes were really historically accurate.
The excavators, early on in the 18th century, when they came and they started to excavate and dig and they found these cavities, someone hit on the idea of filling these empty cavity spaces with plaster and breaking away the material around it. Once it hardened, they're left with the form of whatever was there.
We have to get to the harbor. You forget sometimes on set as an actor that you've been put into a different world, and that's why I love period movies, period action pieces, is that I'm not just on a street in New York, I'm on a Roman street that they've created, and that's one of the things I love about doing, being part of a kind of period of history that this movie is.